President Munali Musere for isolation. Yakobye nti for some years back emyaka gibisewo mingi ngatajja kumusere for isolation. Era onakoledo yabeire nga ali kuidda ekolotia yambaire mask. Nakuba it is rare.
I know.
President okuba nga akuida in public nga tambaire mask. Ayama yatukoba. Era okumala speech yabeire nga akyerabire akuba nti Ndioti nine shimbe shesese omukambo ali musere for isolation sawen. And all of us we are sending prayers to him. Hope you are also sending prayers to him.
Absolutely.
But then kino kyaletera abana Uganda okubanga tulitafuta kino nti lwaki president yalonze prime minister okukola emirimu gye nga obanga olingirire ku leadership hierarchy prime minister wa namba 8 Ovira vice president, speaker, chief justice. What does it mean? Mumateka, otuyambe n'otafutira amateeka awo.
Kwenda kuonetera buzibu Samuel. Ebibuuzo byali kumbuuza byakuleeta bizibu.
I don't expect any problem there.
Why do you bring someone whom you know is potentially dangerous to you? You omwesembereza okweti muna you deputize me. What if he overtakes power?
He can't. What does the law say?
What does the law say? In hierarchy, Ngabokobye, fountain of Bonatini president. Who is the next one?
The vice president.
Who is the soldier? Not so. What does that mean? So why do you cause problems? So you rather bring someone whom you know.
We have the other one. Obokusatuni speaker of parliament.
You rather bring the other and go didn't. Yeah, Dakuba Ube. Mperano. Ngabokobye chigambo ti. And I don't want to lose a word.
So mwabaire mu fears and
it was Olusiru. Ewalete Samuel Egomba. Do you remember the other gentleman who was very popular at deputizing him but also trying to be like him? Remember that guy?
I remember him.
Hey, what happened to him? Basenda
Kakiri.
Do you remember the general, the first general who said who doesn't want to be president? Basenda. So the idea is to bring someone who does not have the ability. Niwo mwendo cha. Obaba niwo mwendo cha chidi widinti. Azena mwezi goenda mwekubira.
So from number 1, the people to number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7 up to all those people they may be a threat.
Anti nebyo.
Tandire kwa doctor. Dr. Kansa nkobye mbunta muletera bizibu. What was your revelation kushinto kino?
In my opinion, njagala mutunulira obuntu obumu buli very silent. Abantu abasinga batunulira amabaati nti amabaati abantu who are corrupt ne amabaati gali supposed in my opinion gali supposed okujjawo opposition ya Muhoozi NRM, but it has also received a lot of fire. Now
okuja opposition ya Muhoozi mu NRM. Muhoozi in opposition mu NRM.
Big one. Now
so is he a threat to NRM?
No, the truth is he's a threat to the very existence of NRM, because the people in NRM, majority have tended to reject him. Now, but
the icon of NRM is his father. We can't speak about NRM and you separate him from Museveni.
And they live very different from Tabani Wange Ntimba and Tabani Wange Rumanyika. We are 3 very different individuals. Museveni and Muhoozi and Joel are 3 very different individuals. It does not mean that Muhoozi can do even a quarter of what Museveni has done, good or bad. So the people in NRM don't see him as taking them a step further. Otherwise, they see him as taking them a step behind. And they have their reasons. Now, njagala tunulire 2 silent futures. Bannayuganda zemutatera kutunulira. Now, ngenda kutoka ku silent future ya muwala wa Museveni, Natasha.
Nenga John tutewala. Njagala
kutegeera Museveni muyige mwenga bannamawulire muyige to read below.
Okyali ku nsonga ya Museveni Nabbanja.
Ndi ku ya Museveni ne Nabbanja nti mutunuulire obuntu bwe mu bantu ba bulijjo be batalaba. Gwe nga munnamawulire obujjeyo bannyinnyonnyole then abantu batandika because let the truth be told. Gwe mugezi w'abali abantu aba viewers. Gwe ino ballet ya certain topics and not to read the script of what you've been given. Now, Natasha Ngomugezi took over the media by silently owning NBS. She did not stop there. Now she's slowly coming into public. But this is a very bright woman who knows what she's doing. Now, Natasha, Iduri yali omukuba guests at a film festival. And she was there very graceful. Newunyisa ku tweet ze nasoose okufuna ku makya nga Natasha awagira alien skin. It is not by mistake that awagira alien skin. She is playing her politics right. Now, Museveni in the last 40 years, waliwo mawuliddeko nti mulwadde yadde malaria. Kwegamba ye Museveni kyuma kya mudaki tekirwala.
Of course, sometimes
all of a sudden, akugambe, ndi mulwadde ngenze my isolation.
So nga tukyali awo ayinza okuba si mulwadde kubanga engeri y'okireeseemu oyinga ogamba nti ndowooza si mulwadde.
Nze Museveni wange gwe mmanyi tabangako mulwadde. Museveni wange gwe mmanyi owamwe mulala nenze gwe mmanyi si mulwadde. There are two issues here. Now, waliwo olukiiko olwa Putin mu South Africa, right? Oluyita abasajja abaddugavu. Museveni yesaba yemu gyalwalidde. Museveni atya omuzungu. Museveni amanyi omuzungu nti mulabe edduka. So he's playing his politics very well and clean.
Naye kironde nga tosaasira.
Museveni si mulwadde n'atwaza buli. Now, another issue. Nze musawo nze singa okusaasira nze mmanyi omulwadde n'atali mulwadde.
Naye kati omusawo w'oyogerera bw'otongola tolinaamu kisa omuntu n'alangira ye mwennyini.
Nze musawo nkimanyi abantu beerangirirako omulwadde. Nze musawo mmanyi omulwadde manyi characteristics of alwadde n'atalwadde. Now,
so President Museveni nga wamulabyemu ye si mulwadde.
Addako ebbali alaga bannayuganda nti mulwadde alabe kyemunaakola. Mmwe aleeta Nabbanja ateeka alabe. In case once upon a time I put in a weakling. A weakling ne mu campaigning as a presidential candidate. Tamaleko mirembe. What will Ugandans say? He's sitting, he's waiting, he's reading his script that he has left you so that you fall in it. Now we are on a TV station discussing the same. Atunula, ajoy, alava, ategera, abalaba waje munagenda. And trust me, the omuntu gwe President Museveni gwagenda okuleta is going to be such a weakling like Nabbanja.
So atandise microphone 1 2 1 2.
I want to yazaja politics watwete fate mwemucha wano muli muchali Museveni ya planning acha 2030. In case I brought a weakling like Nabbanja, stupid as she is, yes she's stupid. Kirizo bagana omanyi abantu tebagala mazima na woyogera amazima.
But she's not stupid.
Even once upon a time I'll prove to you something. Now, mwesigwa kikirize Museveni yali mu 2030 atandika obbatetinga bw'ateekawo a weakling. Gwe bivudde mukama wako. She's 8 in line. She's 7th in line.
8 in hierarchy.
8 in hierarchy. Amukuteereddewo atudde Nakasero alinda.
Tomulabyemu bulwadde.
Ali Nakasero ali ku TV ari ku radio, he's watching. That guy never rests. That is why he beats everybody. He has this stamina. Bano ba opposition bagenda ne bamwewanirako. Let me tell you, what I see in opposition, most of us are weaklings who cannot sit in that hot seat of somebody who doesn't sleep. He's every time he's reading, he's every time reading a situation, he's every time he leaves that chair as a life. So omuntu agenda okureplacing Museveni should be there to leave that chair as a life. Sikutuula eri n'oyasema mbu ndi president.
Kitegeeza nawe ebintu byali okugamba nti oyagala kubeera president entebe togisobola. Council.
Are you sure?
Entebe togisobola. Council. Eyo ensonga, of course it has been a debate among the community and the public. And iwe ng'omunnamateeka, president kino asobola akikola for how long? He can delegate for how long? And that period can't exceed what time?
Usually, first of all, let me make a disclaimer. Dr. Chirondi Chakobiati, the Honorable Right Prime Minister, I will not use that phrase. I think she's a very competent lady.
And every Ugandan is competent.
And I would like to agree with you that she's a gifted lady, very gifted, perhaps brilliant and intelligent.
And better we must applaud her. Yeah, she had made she has made the office of the Prime Minister vibrant.
Absolutely. Even if I was the president, in all honesty, Singamba and the activity I think she'll be the best person I would choose, in all honesty.
So when I sing over in president who and delegating the Prime Minister? You
see, the problem is that whereas it is true that we have in Tuinaba and Tuabalim offices, I functionality sometimes it's really exemplified Mirimo Jebakolachi. Jebakola.
Yeah.
Either deliberately, Rokubantibatiokuniza, Eabatamu, or they think by playing those cards by Dakuba Musanusa. I'll give an example. With all due respect, the former deputy vice president. You remember Kataga Kaidanga, which was Simalaga Holaji? Simalaga. So sometimes you have to study your boss. What a guarantee Mukamawanga Yendachi, especially for sustainability. And I think that's a problem that happened with my friend, the former speaker, Umwidukira, Rebecca, the Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. Boyaja Media Nakobati, if it wasn't me, Singa Dayowa. So sometimes you have to understand when you're dealing with people like His Excellency, who have a projected plan and schedule, and who are extremely intelligent in terms of how they want to govern the nation, then you have to calculate your moves very, very carefully. Chobananti, when the Honorable Rebecca said those words, the next thing you had the gentleman coming out in Kakobati, by the way, the originals, the originals. So I may still agree with what my brother, Dr. Chironde, is saying in terms of a schedule and a plan. And you rightly pointed out, under World Health Organization, they have declared COVID a non-hazardous disease anymore. So as Uganda, then you and I are witnesses. In spite of the fact that fundamentally COVID is not a threat anymore, we have seen on purpose and deliberately everywhere His Excellency wearing a mask, whether he's here, whether he's out of the country. You know that very well. And then recently, when he comes out on public, under the assumption that he understood the dangers of COVID, then he's not wearing the mask.
And recently, if I never Fulumanga, Alaga meetings, the speakers,
with the
deputy speaker, ni speaker.
Yes.
First of all, for quite long, Nabananga call a handshake ni the return of time.
Absolutely.
Every person said, for quite long, to be able to president a handshake.
Absolutely. So there are many questions, like my brother was saying, and whether it is a test of a feeling, system, whether it is deliberately true, Dr. Chironde said in Tarwa Langako, I remember there was a scuffle, you remember that issue of the Lugalo, where everyone was making a hula ball about it. Later, Tamene yakati atimutuka ne yamunigo olugalo, if you remember, the automated doors and stuff like that. So there are many questions to ask, but in terms of hierarchy, singa tubaire in constitutional countries that follow procedure and guidelines, where the word of the president is not a decree, as it were, then there are hierarchies of offices that are supposed to follow and mandates. And definitely, the vice president ought to have taken what? Root. And ought to be governing the state on behalf of the what? In that sense. Now, there are instances, for example, President Wanabanga, he's declared, for example, substantially insane or imbecile or maybe sick, and therefore he cannot exercise his presidential mandate. Then, obviously, the vice president takes over that what? That responsibility. Not so. So hierarchy has to be pronounced. But when you jump the hierarchy, like you rightly said, watumaku from number 2, wajaku number 8, then he tells you substantially. I remember all your minister, Oyariani, when His Excellency had called them in Rakitura, I think, it went viral, if you remember that time. Yakat, for example, Bonono, Alozanti Nigu, let me teach you how they do politics. If you remember those things that were spilling over. So you now know that the system of governance is not really, in terms of the individuals that we see propounding Ebi Fabio, I am Mulimu set up, Bene Chintu. I'm sorry to use those words, but I'm saying it by reading Mbeda Ngaweliwo. So, I mean, when it came to the Rwanda issue, for example, the Somali issue, you remember, you saw what happened. Who went there? Who went and had it? And
the former Commander Land Forces, former.
Absolutely. You get my point. So
and the president, actually, it is one thing, what I was trying to add, the president, we are blaming them, Amaji. Yatumayo, General Mosca in Ebukaba. It told me something. I don't know whether you also read something.
I know. So I don't know, my brother. I just don't know. I pray for a time when we live in a country where we are accountable, where we follow the constitution and the spirit and the letter of the law, rather than operating on the whims of ideologies that are propounded by partial individuals because they think maybe the nation has been given to them as a gift.
Okay, that's Cardinal Kumyabina inane divide kusawa eina edokunso konako. Olwalero edindi kwedo ensonga netudde okuba atenga tutandika na domestic safe. So kubirona ko olwalero Director Rebecca Itora Kadaga, Minister wa East African Affairs, First Deputy Prime Minister, alija kuba okwitendekero kwisomero eriye butishi nga abana abasomera ku isomero lino. And of course, I have one of them is Council Christopher Isaac Rubogo. Baitero kwidda walala okubanga bolowooza kunkulankulana ey'isomero lino Butishi College. It's one of the vibrant schools in Soga, and we can't leave it not talked about. That's Cardinal Kampumule Mukwe. Nabangandi zetu lijja kuba atenga tulinga. President yabeera kwogera ku State of the Nation. State of the Nation kitegeeza nti eiwanga nga oli yemereire. Mu ndogera ye yalaze nti eiwanga tuli bulungi. Infrastructure development ekuze, domestic income ekuze, ebyobulimi bikuze. So yatulaze nti everything tuli a step ahead. Era yatukoba nti by 2025 tulina kuba with the growth of the economy esobola okuba tangible to everybody. Iwe ngali tubona ali yaliwo na Baba TV. Ekifaananyi president yasizewo nakyobona. Oba iwe kabiri obona kindino. Wabanga tiyakobe ku State of the Nation. What is the true state of the nation now? Nikwiro tagawa.
Enoni Baba TV obusoga bulaire.
Olina akasenteko oyagala kulattako ofuneko wezimbira Julex otunda nyumba gye wezimbira oba oyagala kugula eweddewo n'okutawuka Julex ekyapa kyo wakifuna oyagala kukikyusa kidde mu mannya go Julex buli luguudo lwewayagala oluyingira Kampala bano balinako ettaka Julex bamufuna mpola tuwonye bano batunda n'ettaka ku kibanja mpola Julex namwe be babbako ettaka nga byakulemerera oyagala anakulwanira Julex balina ettaka mu Kampala wonna munnange yangu ofuneko wezimbira Julex
Property Consultants Limited tusangibwa Nansana ku Jenina State oba tukubire ku namba z'essimu zino wammanga 0752 46 oba 0788 46 jangu ofune ekyomulembe
Nvuku 10 kuffe tufiiriddwa ensimbi nnyingi abafeereze batubbyeko so nga twandizikozesezza okusasula ez'obupangisa okwongera mu bizinesi okusasula fees n'ebirala beera steady ng'okuuma ebibyo era beera bulindaala ng'okozesa enkola y'okusasulira ku mitimbagano ennamba ye ya pini gikuume bulungi era togikaba kwata ennamba za kampuni y'amasimu entongole zokka
Beera steady, be better. In partnership with
Ekitunda kuba gikube Kusaninga 2 July 2023 Bugembe Stadium ekitunda kya Baba FM ne Baba TV omuli abayimbi bonna Saundi bongo tadombo ya matumbo amatalambila siachera mbimbola security dungu mbalo bamba tamadumbo kumtwalo gumo hata mitwalo komi happy chunda cha Baba FM ne Baba TV chikeddwa mu center
Pepsi for the love of it. Everywhere you go, MTN. Now special. True Ugandan reward from the source.
Chitunda kubanje kube ngabili chula ikomi bila bila setu Bugembe Stadium abantu b'ekirikana ebitundu ebiranyewo twe Unite for Junction Shopping Mall ekirikana Namugongo Road mu maaso ga Sheru Kireka jangu wegulira ebintu mu maduuka gaffe omuli supermarket ez'omulembe amaduuka ag'engoye eziri ku mulembe ayagala amasimu amapya restaurants ez'omulembe ezifumba ekimere ekiri loko emmere yaffe endala omuli ne Continental Food Makeup Studios yenjogera ekindekeki bannange parking ngazi ate nga security eri ggulugulu byonna ebibe ku Junction Shopping Mall ekirikana Namugongo Road maaso ga Sheru Kireka tukulindiridde
Kampala oliotya Kampala Kampala oliotya Kampala city
Kampala kibuga mu ggwanga Uganda era yentabiro ya buli kintu kyonna mu Uganda buli ayagala okukola ayagala asinziire mu kibuga Kampala kino ne kikifuula ekibuga ekikulu eky'eggwanga Uganda ebitebe ebikulu eby'ebyobufuzi n'ebyokwerinda byonna bisangibwa mu kibuga Kampala era ky'olina okumanya nti Kampala kye kibuga ekisinga abantu abangi mu ggwanga Uganda ebyo biba bitegeeza ki? Biba bitegeeza nti Kampala ayina okukwatibwa obulungi era n'alabirirwa ku mutindo omuteeketeeke obulungi okusobola okuweereza abamuwangaaliramu n'abo abajjamu obulungi.
Smart City kye kigambo ekikwatira ddala ffe bye tuyayaanira ng'ekibuga nga KCCA okulaba ng'ekibuga kyaffe kituuka ku mutindo ogw'ensi zonna. Smart City yenjogera gye tukozesa naye nga mu kigambo ekyo kikwatirwamu vision yaffe, mission yaffe, values zaffe nga KCCA.
Kino kiba kitegeeza nti Kampala alina okubeera n'enguudo ennungi era enjooyooto obulungi, obutale obuzimbiddwa ku mutindo, okuuma obuyonjo obutalwaza bakiwangaaliramu, n'okuzimba kaabuyonjo ez'olukale ezituukagana n'omulembe. Emyala girina okuzimbibwa obulungi ennyo ddala okusobola okutambuza amazzi ne mukoka. kasasiro alina okuyolebwa mu budde era n'okuteekateekawo bikonteyina omusulibwa kasasiro eri abo abatambulira mu kibuga Kampala.
Randazi zino okubanga zijjuddeko sigiri, obutunda, amenvu n'amagi, tekibeera smart city bannange.
Kampala alina okubeerako amataala ku buli nguudo, ekibuga wammaggwe ne kiba nga kyakaayakana. Kampala alina okubeeramu obukuumi okusobola okukuuma bannakampala bizinesi zaabwe n'obulamu bwabwe. Bino byonna okubituukako tulina okubeera n'enkola eri smart okwawukanako n'ebibuga ebirala okusobola okwanguyiza bannakampala okukola emirimu gyabwe n'okubatuusaako obuweereza nga tukozesa tekinologiya ali ku mulembe afuula ekibuga smart city.
Enoni Baba TV obusoga bulayire.
Sacrificial lamb. Wewa nkwisusa mukumula tukale ku Baba TV ninze samo mwesigwa neno program kanso efe tumisundisa efe kyokubiri kanso nenda tutandikira president bebayo kwogera aline ebintu byakonye ku yalaga nti embera nga Uganda bwe tuli bubi yayogera ku infrastructure development yayogera enguudo edikoleibwa ensonga esinga kweralikiriza abantu eyo byokwerinda yakoba obwo buntu butono ino kodi wali abalikolesewo byemundu bine biri Somalia ordinance y'omukulembeze yatulaga nti eiwanga is still in the driving cabinet titulina kweralikirira every time wemba wano mulida obwavu bitiride byokwerinda biri on stake enguudo mbi abakampala bali bajja kola na festival president we yayogera yatulaze nti at least tuli average. President yayogere weno kibona oba yayogere script yindi.
Oh dear me. Let me katandike na kwa lugero. Aliwana na lugera Winston Churchill ja kwa speech. Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister of England during the times of war. Walwana ngaino ni the Nazi guys, the Hitler guys. So he bam celebrating anga hilo. Lala we alija mstuka Baba TV. Yeye alimvuga. Bwamuvuga namutuuza ku gondi yakati muna webale kumvuga aye toninze kwata ati sobola kulinda nino okulumukandirewa waka Winston kirajja kwogera akati aye ngata idinto logwavuze nani
ni gwali kujja okuwuliriza
ono yasanuka lino mutima yagema pauno 10 yadi mwati muna webale aye akati Manaomba chikumiti mfoche che kumiti ati zekanisigalire wano
nkolinde
nti ninde ani ajjo kuliza gulo gusirusiru bujjo kwogera ngosolo kuna chikumi wano
mangwa gonga kyusisa
kai chameno mutima gwani gwono Dr. Chironda yogere chintu yakati nothing happens in this country is calculated. I'm just paraphrasing his words. abakulembeze nga His Excellency basome ebitabo bya The Art of War by Zanzub and then the 48 laws of power. Let me tell you the truth. One of the laws in the 48 laws of power, Robert Greene, Akobati, when you are actually weak, appear strong. When you are actually very strong, appear very weak. I can assure you this is the strongest of His Excellency Ngawali.
So is the president strong or weak?
The fact that he can even challenge you, yakati kantewo omuntu gwe mulowooza nti munafu afuge igwanga imwe tubona analigemaku. And you rightly said, after that one, then he comes out with those circulations. By the way, I have justification, Brachino as well. Going back to the State of Nation address, in my opinion, I am still having a very serious debate of whether or not to enough progression to cause it. Kubanga bonkoboti. You see, when we are judging His Excellency, we judging on the basis of what Samuel and I have said today. We have to judge him on the basis of for the last 30 years. Let us be realistic. Singani Samuel good for President Ronald, then judge me on the basis of what I've done. What track record here. So I want us to judge His Excellency on the basis of the track record. If you are telling me that socio-economic is going to change, if you are telling me that the roads are going to be improved, if you are telling me that security is going to be improved, and we all know that all those are reflections. No. You work in Kampala, go find out the roads how they look like. Go to the security. If your own security agents are complaining in terms of resources, in terms of well-being, if the GDP, actually the gross national income of this country is $850, reflect that in terms of shillings per month. That's about 270,000. If the minimum wage is 130, substantially. If medical people are striking left, right, and center, if arts teachers are striking because they're wanting to get a better pay, think about this. Art teachers in this country are struggling to get a better pay. On the other hand, National Council on Education had an issue to do with the accreditation. But law lecturers actually earn less than what even art teachers are struggling to improve in terms of their well-being. The private will find out in terms of this private institution. Find out how many professors we have in law schools, even before you begin debating this ideology of whether or not National Council is doing its thing. So to me, to paint that picture, even in terms of whether our country has even enough products of exporting, agriculture, for example, my brother, I have a lot of questions. You need to read my book, If I Was President for One Day, because I make all those propositions. I think I must have shared it with you.
If you were the Naban,
no, okay. I would prefer the other one with authority, with all due respect, rather than
not a delegation.
Not to be a answer.
Oh, so the president didn't address the state of the nation.
What did you get out of it? Tell me something substantial that you think was
different.
Very good.
Different.
Just one like this.
The security is in the hands.
Which security? When Al-Shabaab is hammering you the other side and then you give excuses. What excuse did they give when they killed the 40? First of all, they never killed anyone. You remember? That's what they said. Then later they come out and say 45 of them. Then they say that here they found how many? 4 or 7 who were thriving on urine for how many days?
Doctor, President bwe kwogera ku economy ya Uganda yatulaga ni growth ya international trade. Painting a picture in a nutshell yatulaga nti we are not badly off starting with that. And you are in business. Osobola otukobera President yayogere n'ekiriwo wena kyobonako ekituufu n'ekiriwa.
Abantu abali during Obote's time abantu abali bajjukira Baker owa Express waliwo omukyala yali muwagizi nnyo wa Express yaleka omwana omu bamuyita Musoke naye Musoke mukwano gwange naye Musoke yaddusa abaana be Musoke nsaba okwetondera saalaba embeera ng'etuuse so bad naye nange nze kennyini nina responsibility nyingi oluusi kyansukkangako ne sisobola kuyamba as I should have naye musooka nkusaba in good heart komaweeka to struggling n'abaana abo abaana bato nnyo okubaleka mu nnyumba. That is what our economy is.
Our economy is Musoke.
No, I'm giving you a typical example. Nti omuzadde asobola okulekawo omwana gwazaala omwana gwayagala ennyo n'adduka kata kyasobola to make ends meet ng'asabye atuuse bwekikoma. It's not only Musoke. It's not only Musoke. For us people who are out there, know what is taking place. Olina jamu dwali nagamba nfa sina yadde n'ekikumi. I have given out treatment worth 3.8 billion in 5 years. Nzani ajigaba. Nzani ajigaba. But because abantu bajja nagamba gundi nfa emabegeno yonna talina mannyo aliisa wano omutwe gumubobba and the only solution is to give him teeth that are worth 5 or 6 million. Naye nga musajja ayera mu katale asiimula toy talina yadde n'ekikumi emulago talina kufuna treatment. That is how bad it is.
Of course tetugenda kubeera ffenna bagagga. But the president is telling you tuli yaddeko.
Nali wano ku nga baleeta parish model. Ne mbagamba bannange Museveni alese models zino for the last 40 years. For the last 40 years azirese ezikoze eki okujjako amalyansimbi. Okiwulire alese parish model ogambe nti nkuwadde ssente yokya obutebe naye obutebe obwomala bwokya what next? Oyina obutunda oyina ability oweeganga obutebe bwo bugenda kutundibwa katwe oyina ability ekutuuse katwe oyina ability efuna edduuka ekatwe erinagitunda ekyo kyonna kiri mu bwegasi. You cannot develop a third world nation nga tewali cooperative union. Gundi zino Museveni yagenda n'abuukira ne yeeraga musimanya we are middle income tosobola kituukako. Brazil, Russia, India, China, Korea, all Singapore, all have thrived mu bwegasi cooperative union. Nze nagenda India natuuka India nga kyalo kyonna kikola panado bamukolerawa mu fumbiro oba ekisenge ekimu ekyandibadde bedroom. Bwe bamala abaana ne bapakira panado oyo ku ssaawa 11:30 sharp emmotoka ne ziyita ne bateeka panado oyo ne bagamba nze ntaddeko panado bwati taddeko panado bwati taddeko panado bwati for export to Africa. Bwe batuuka ne balinda oli n'agenda n'atunda panado mu Africa n'abaweereza ssente zaabwe back ne bafidiga abaana. Now gwe wano essaawa eno panado omumanufacturingira mu bintu ebyalema edda. Lwaki ozimba gu factory gunene nammanve n'okukola ki n'okuteekamu abakozi bangi abagenda okubba abagenda okusala emisolo abagenda okusasula emisolo abagenda okukola ki amasannyalaze. Okiwulire teziri profit making. Naye India omwana are providing a free labor. Mama na providing free security. Okiwulire amasannyalaze ge banywako ge balyako ge producing a panado. Can your panado compete with their panado? Panado wabe ne bwabava mayanja wa mayanja. You cannot compete because the factory you've set up yada. Today's world is owegasi small scale manufacturing in the home. Nagende China ne China bakola dental chair nga dental chair ekolebwa byalo nze nkola kano nze nkola kali bonna ne basupplying omuntu omu they assemble the dental chair then they bring it as the idea is abaana be bakola mama nakola security gojotereko gate man mama yakola security mama naye tasasulwa amasenyereza ageka gegakola okiwulire omusulo gujja omulundi gumu ku dental chair ng'ewedde efuluma omuchina n'agikubako guli neffe wano bulika every bit of production kali taxed omusajja ajja okukola taxi gyalinya eri taxed oba boda gyalinya eri taxed amasannyalaze gali taxed amazzi gali taxed so your cost of production is so high now omuntu oyo n'otandika ate okumuwa sente
eza Paris development model
mbwa producing competing n'omuyindi akatebe akagenda okuva China tosobola kakompitinga nako bajja kwaga so nze nalaba Sam toyagala mazima temwagala mazima
obuzibu amazima g'ebiseera ebisinga galagakaawa
that day I told you this is a lot of stupidity n'ogamba nvumye that day I said this is a lot of stupidity n'ogamba nvumye naye amazima gali nti it is a lot of stupidity
what
Simaya parish model era buli omu atunda that stupidity is an imbecile but temwagala mazima naye ago ge mazima
programu ejatuuka ekule nze nina essuubi president tasobola kulemera ku kintu mwaka ku mwaka n'akiteekamu n'esente nekigaana okukola bali abasulanga obubizi
president wange waliwo yagambira simanye obubizi simanye ente simanye embuzi simanye endiga ne baziwa abantu zatuukawa
ngenda kujjaawo
ne basuubula egundi okuva South Africa zatuukawa please answer don't run away
ngenda kujja gyoli kanso president wewe yali ayikusoma kino ekiwandiiko kyeninaku wano yalaze nti bakimuwandikiire aye yatuuka ng'alaga nti alinga atali kwikirizaganya nebye bawandiise.
That's a very good one.
I don't know whether it is me who observed it. Era yatuuka yayongeramu ebibye yakuba nti wano kanongeremu era yakuba disclaimer ati kino kyange.
Really?
Now, mu mateeka, I want to know a pick from you. To comment president bino byayogeire when alina what he knows it is the state of the nation ange yatusomere by'abantu byabamu era yakobanga ati ebyaka the other yakobya aka group kala akamuwandikire bitu bino byaka group kali. Does the president sometimes want to speak to us is ati ayinga alina abantu amukoba nti yogera kino?
Actually, to me, it even makes an already bad situation worse. Maybe one of the, with all due respect, one of the
but what I observed, you also observed, I don't know.
Yes, one of the things that you should be very critical, by the way, when you're observing public leaders, is when they don't deteriorate into that level of diminishing returns.
So kolesa luzunga abantu abasinga tubashitegeire.
Anchigendereire. I'll give an example of Biden of America. He's coming back for the next term, but people are thinking,
Agwira mu public.
You know, Agwira is the one thing I ngabonanga temperament dinzo kubatidika reconciling bulungi. So when His Excellency begins disagreeing with some of the elements that his aide speech writers ngawe tukoba, because a speech writer Aida Joli yakati, what do you want us to write about? Okay, what I want us to write about this, I want to write about this, I want to write about that. Then you take it back to your boss. The boss looks at it, makes edits. He says, chino ntegeza, chino. then you call your consultants, special consultants in those particular areas. Talk about diplomas and speech writing.
Yeah.
Then you give them the draft. What statistics don't do for. I don't want to be seen to be embarrassed on media. And they say, yes, we agree with this. If you agree with this, then you agree with this. Then you call experts, substantive experts, in terms of recommendations. This is practical. So before the thing is released, especially State of the Nation address is a very, very, very important event. Because at that point, we are, all of our intellectual prowess is actually surrendered to the president. We assume that he's natutegerera.
Yeah.
So if, for whatever reason, at any one point, there is a disagreement in what he is saying vis-a-vis
what he wants to speak and what he's reading,
then you know there is a very big problem. And I'm sorry to say, that's when you want to agree with people like Tamale Mirundi that there are perhaps mafias who are running some of these entities. To the extent that there are people who are told that Niba ministers, state ministers, some of them may not have actually ever met the president in terms of due diligence, that there is a particular blue-eyed boys who actually just simply say, Chirone, Mwesigwa, and then the guy just appends his what? His signature. So I am extremely worried. That's why I told you one of the reasons why someone should actually be excused from the presidency if he is, do not quote me, Mr. Mwesigwa. I want to be on record. I disassociate myself with Dr. Chironde's strong words. But I want to be on record that I am not saying that His Excellency is insane or temporarily insane, but I'm saying that if there are those spouses that indicate that there is some correlation, then those are grounds of impeachment or perhaps of surrender to another individual to take over.
So we are not right when we are seeing what is not moving well to blame an individual.
Absolutely.
Tuyinza okuba nga tublaminga President Museveni aye nga alina abantu abamuwabya. Just a short one, Jim break. For you put the blame on an individual.
Museveni yafuga eggwanga lino 10 ku 10.
So buli kimu
era abo baleseewo bantu be nga muhoozi nga mukyala we ngaani okiwulidde nawe njagala tutegeeragane nga bwakugambye nti omuntu bwakaddiwa waliwo byabatakyasa
naye obukadde magezi olweyo olukadde lwe lumanye ensonda
naye not governing a nation. Now ababeera advisors, that is work of a president. Ogugwe kati watu say adibadde akola ki advising naye tayagala kukkiriza. Now
bannayuganda be bamulonda singa ye yavaawo dda.
This is my humble word to Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine walya mu bannayuganda olukwe.
Ate obuukidde ku Bobi Wine.
Let me finish. Bobi Wine walya mu bannayuganda olukwe. Because this is a time oli omusajja akaddiye, stress him to the grave. Stress him to the grave. He's ripe to be stressed to the grave. Naye Bobi Wine walya mu bannayuganda oswiminga okola biki ebita pushing this gentleman who is old enough to break down. You can break him down, but you're not using the opportunity. You're young. Bobi Wine walya mu bannayuganda olukwe.
Omulaga nti kano ke kadde.
Kano ke kadde oli omusajja yaggwayo. He is, you just stress him to his grave.
Mbuza eddakiika 3 ku ssaawa 5 edduuku nkyokoonako. Olwaleero kampumulemu katono. Bwe tunaba ate nga twize Pulezidenti akalebalinga okwinonola etteeka lye yataako omukono erya Anti-Homosexual Act 2023 era yali inonweire. Lwaki Pulezidenti akalebalinga eno okwinonola etteeka lino engeri yali inonola